Iowa, the Hawkeye State, the birthplace of Ashton Kutcher, John Wayne, and President Hoover. They also gave us the band Slipknot. Just like my home state of Nebraska, it's pretty flat, boring, and covered in cornfields and wind turbines. But unlike my home state, Iowa has a collection of roller coasters, a collection that has grown a noticeable amount over the last 7 years. Adventureland has added 4 over a short period of time, and the recent opening of Lost Island brought 3 more coasters to the state. Currently, the state of Iowa has 14 operating roller coasters, and I have ridden all but 3. So let's rank them all up. Welcome to Ejector Airtime, and these are the coasters of Iowa ranked. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content. Also, please be sure to give this video a like, as that will really help against the YouTube algorithm. Number 14. Little Coaster at Arnold's Park. This Miler Kids coaster has been in operation since 1959. Previously carrying the name Rolo Coaster, there's not a whole lot to say about this standard kids coaster with an oval layout. Coasters this size tend to be reserved for only smaller riders, therefore I was unable to ride this one. But they definitely serve a great first step for little kids to get their first thrill. Number 13. The Underground at Adventureland. This coaster honestly is more like a train ride than anything. It does have a couple of chain lifts and one small dip, but the rest of the experience is just gradually coasting through a dark mine. It features no large drops or noticeable elements of any kind. CCI built this coaster in 1996, and it features a pre-show that has definitely become a little outdated. The animatronic that speaks to you before you board the coaster is hard to understand due to the clicking sound that his mouth makes. This hopefully won't be the case for much longer. RCDB currently lists the coaster as standing but not operating, and the park website shows that it will be reopening in 2024 with new features and special effects, so it will be interesting to see what new surprises Adventureland has in store for us. Number 12. Wild Mouse at Arnold's Park. This coaster was built by the Alan Herschel Company, and it's been relocated more than once. Starting out at Bell's Amusement Park in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1959, it moved to Joyland in Lubbock, Texas, before landing at Arnold's Park in 2019. I haven't experienced very many Wild Mouse coasters, but this one definitely is the most uncomfortable I've ever experienced. The toboggan cars have almost no padding on the sides, and the turns are so sharp and janky that I was getting slammed into the sides of the car for each one. On top of this, I could see the entire coaster vibrating while I stood watching it. I honestly thought this coaster was going to kill me. Definitely a one and done for me. Number 11. Genesis Kids Coaster at Modern Woodman Park in Davenport. I was very surprised to find that this coaster, along with the other rides that operate alongside it, are all located within a baseball stadium. This coaster is an SBF spinner, which has become a very standard clone in the amusement industry. With its compact layout and being geared towards families, these coasters can be found at not only small parks, but also inside various family fun centers all over the world. I haven't ridden any of these spinners yet, but I hear about them all the time. Number 10. Locolo at Lost Island. Wacky Worm or Big Apple coasters can be found in parks all over the world. There are literally hundreds of these coasters out there, yet every park has their own requirements for riding them. Some parks allow adults to ride on their own. Others only let you ride if you're accompanying a small child. Lost Island is one of the few where adults can ride without a kid, and experiencing this one gave me a slight bit of nostalgia. My first ever experience on a coaster was a Wacky Worm clone at Worlds of Fun. Number 9. Flying Viking at Adventureland. This is the only other coaster I've yet to experience in the state. It's also the most recent addition. This is a Zamperla Jr. coaster, and it shares the same layout as Tony's Express at Coney Island. This is also the first coaster to be added to Adventureland since their acquisition by Palace Entertainment, the same company that operates Kennywood. I really like how this coaster interacts with the new log chute ride that was built along with it. They both share the same entrance and queue building, and both attractions intertwine with each other. Adventureland did great putting this one together. Number 8. Nopuco Air Coaster at Lost Island. Vekoma SLCs are yet another cloned coaster that can be found in a countless number of parks around the world. When a park can't afford a B&M invert but still wants a thrilling coaster that hangs below the track, they tend to go with this cheaper model. While they can provide a solid thrill with their 5 inversions, these coasters tend to be rather unpleasant to experience, with their bulky over-the-shoulder restraints paired with a very rough ride. This one was given New Age Vekoma trains which feature vest restraints after it was relocated here from South Africa. Unfortunately, they didn't do much to improve the ride experience. The ride ops warned of it being rough before I got on, and the first inversion jerked me to the side pretty hard. This wasn't the worst coaster I've experienced, but I'm not sure if I want to ride this again anytime soon. Number 7. Tornado at Adventureland. This wooden coaster has been operating since 1978, and over the years has been featured very prominently in Adventureland's promotional material. When I rode this for the first time in 2021, I was initially pretty excited to ride. I saw the trains featured the classic PTC buzz bar restraints. These restraints usually give the impression that you're about to experience a coaster with decent airtime, but this excitement was quickly dampened when I found the coaster to be very rough and didn't feature any airtime at all. It also felt like the coaster was barely making it over some of the dips. It just doesn't really do a whole lot. Definitely one of the roughest coasters I've been on so far. Number 6. Phoenix at Adventureland. Spinning coasters always offer a great thrill with a ride that's never twice the same, and Phoenix is no exception. Phoenix is a Maurer spinner, and it's been operating at the park since 2019. Its layout includes a number of exciting elements, including steep turns and a trick track. The only downside of this coaster is its capacity. With 4 riders per car, the line for this coaster has a tendency to move rather slowly. If you visit the park on a busy day, I recommend hitting this one first. It's a very fun coaster, but I prefer the Gerstlauer spinning coasters just a little bit more. Number 5. Dragon Slayer at Adventureland. When the park decided to remove their Hopkins looping coaster Dragon in 2019, this coaster ended up going on part of the land freed up by it. Even though the SNS 40 Free Spin has become a pretty standard clone in amusement parks across the states, Dragon Slayer has a unique ride option that I don't think any others do. When you enter the queue, the line splits to the 2 sides of the car, and each side is slightly different. If you go to the right, you'll be riding the Squire side, which offers a slightly more tame experience when compared to the Knight side on the left. So if you don't want to ride with as much flipping, you have the option on this coaster. Number 4. Outlaw at Adventureland. This CCI wooden coaster opened in 1993. Designed by Mike Bodley, this is sometimes considered the prototype GCI coaster. With its curved first drop and twisted layout, this coaster offers a slightly different experience than Tornado. It's still kind of rough, but also features buzz bars. I rode in the last row and got some slight floater airtime going over the first drop. Not the best wooden coaster in the state, but still a very enjoyable one. Number 3. Legend at Arnold's Park. This wooden coaster is a classic one that has operated since 1930. Designed by John Miller, this is a coaster that has been maintained very well over the years, having just recently undergone a major retracking. For a coaster that only reaches a height of 63 feet, this was a coaster that actually surprised me. Riding in the back row of this one with the buzz bar restraint produced some solid floater airtime on this rather short ride experience. I don't know what it was about this coaster, but I enjoyed it enough on my stop that I had to get one more ride before returning home. Definitely my favorite wooden coaster in the state of Iowa. Number 2. Matsugani at Lost Island. This Intamin hydraulic launch coaster operated originally as Kanonen at Liseberg in Sweden before being placed into storage. When Lost Island opened up last summer, this coaster was unfortunately not able to open due to a delay on shipping of a missing part. But now that it's up and running, I made my way to the park to experience it at the beginning of August. I was very impressed with how intense the launch was considering it only reaches 45 miles per hour. I was also surprised by how smooth it was despite having been in storage for more than a few years. This coaster features soft restraints similar to those on Maverick, so it's a very comfortable ride experience as well. It may not be that big or fast, but this is a coaster you definitely shouldn't sleep on. Number 1. Monster at Adventureland. Not too many surprises here. Adventureland had gone 20 years without receiving a new coaster. I never would have expected this park to get the first Gerstlauer Infinity model in the country. With a height of 133 feet, a 101 degree beyond vertical drop, and a glossy smooth ride experience featuring incredible hang time and a few solid airtime moments, I couldn't believe an elite coaster had opened in the state of Iowa. Unlike some of the Eurofighters out there, this coaster only features lap bars, which really add to the thrill of experiencing the hang time on some of the inversions. You can even ride the park's chairlift right through and over this coaster, and it features one of the most incredible lighting packages of any coaster. This is not only the best coaster in the state of Iowa, but it is also still holding a spot in my top 20 favorites. Monster alone makes a visit to Iowa well worth it. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments what your favorite coaster is in this state. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content.